I'm glad I did it. And Nicole told me that out of 30 to 70,000 people that do go to Burning Man, only 200 to 300 people fight at the Thunderdome. That makes us like top 1%.
Fuck yeah, that's rad.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But I was very excited to tell my friends, Michael and Brandon, because I swore they said that they'd fought in there. They're like, no, we didn't fight in there. That's only for crazy people.
Yeah.
You're crazy. I'm like, oops.
We are the
Get Reelisms Podcast.
I am Adam Chase Ray.
And I am Christine Chen. And surprise, we're both filmmakers.
We get into it by sharing secrets, advice, and gossip in filmmaking.
And we even get our other filmmaking friends to share theirs too.
So please, everybody, join us for
An ode to filmmaking.
It's been a while. Welcome back to another episode of the Get Reelisms Podcast, episode 154. What in the heck? I am still Adam Chase Rennie.
And I am still Christine Chen.
That's incredible. We're still here and we're back. We knew we were coming back. We're busy. We got shit going on. Anyone who's listening and watching, I never talk to Christine. I'm kidding. We talk every once in a while, but we don't have the chance to hang and chill out. So this is our excuse.
We actually don't know each other.
No, I never met her a day in my life. We just happened to have the same t-shirt and hat.
Let's go.
That's so crazy.
Professional as professional.
That's
I'm
crazy.
so proud of us.
We will dominate once we start having guests wear the merchandise. It will become a world domination for our merch. I'm excited. How's it
When was
been?
the last time I saw you? When was the last time? Was it before or after Burning Man?
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, but no, we haven't talked about Burning Man. We need to talk about that. You made like a short film or a music video. Short film? Music video.
That was the music video I released right before Burning Man. It was from last year's Burning Man, so Apocalypse. It was from the art structure that I helped document and helped build last year. So this year I wasn't part of the burn. In fact, this year I wasn't even supposed to go to Burning Man. It was really, again, last minute, like I would say barely a week before I was gifted the opportunity to go. So by gifted, to my very dear friends who are also former podcast guests, Michael and Brandon. They're the ones who did the pilot When We Grow Up. So they're the ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. When I first was in the process of transitioning to LA, I went and did their project at their former condo.
Yeah.
And that was also when my catalytic converter got stolen and I ended up living with them for a month. So they're the reasons why I have a tonal in my house, because I used their tonal for a month and decided that this is the coolest thing ever. And yeah, so they are like the nicest, kindest, extremely talented, but the most humble folks. And this year they would be like, so are you going? I'm like, I can't afford it. And this year, are you sure? I really can't. And it was just like, I couldn't. There's no way. This year has been a very rough year for a lot of us creatives.
Woo! It's been rough.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
It's been very rough.
I missed 2 weddings this year, and I was supposed to come back home, and I can't afford even a plane ticket, y'all.
Yeah,
But
can't
this is how it
afford
is.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad. It's been very bad this year. Knock on wood that things will return soon. And I'm feeling it. There's things trickling, trying, poking their head out. But yeah, it's been a really challenging time for creatives. If you just to give a summary for those who are in the industry, but the first half of
whole year. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, where were we? We were in 2 strikes, basically. Yep. So we had the WGA strike, which we've talked about in previous episodes, and you'll see by how far away that strike was, how long of it has lasted. So the WGA strike started, and then we had the SAG strike. And then about 6 months after that, there was this pending period of will IATSE strike or not strike. And because a lot of studios and producers and whatnot were pretty much traumatized from the strike previously, they just were like, we're just not going to do any productions then. We're just going to wait and see what happens. So there were 0 productions, except maybe there was some commercial work maybe going on. Even that was questionable. But
yeah,
I talked to a fellow friend, Charlie Pierce. He's a DP I ran into him at Cinegear.
I love Mr.
And
Charlie.
I'm going to tell you something even more crazy.
Sure.
When I ran into him, he said that the other big reason was because insurance companies weren't insuring productions at all. So that made perfect sense. If you don't have insurance for your
Oh.
productions, there's no freaking way you can do a production safely.
That's too
You know, it's
expensive.
a risk. Yeah, you technically can, but if something really badly happens, then you're not
Oh, that's
insured.
effed.
So a lot of
Yeah.
people
You're, yeah.
aren't willing to take that risk. And so because of that, a year and a half goes by and people haven't really worked. And if there is work, it is spread very thinly amongst the entirety of the film industry. So then you've got union workers who are taking on the non-union jobs, it's just been a mess.
Oh, really?
So
There's been a
because-
lot of people, unions, who are taking non-union jobs as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you have
So
to survive. You have to live.
you
Yeah,
have to
duh.
survive.
That's
You
that's a
have to survive.
disregard that.
Yeah.
I've been tired. I don't know why I even said that. That's insane.
It's all good. We're
What the fuck?
tired because we're tired of this industry not delivering yet. But hopefully what goes down must come up. But the sad part is a lot of people think that the stuff won't actually go back to normal until next year. We will see. But I find that the strikes trickle down effects doesn't really, if I can recall correctly, it is not as huge of a direct hit on non-union states, right to work states. Because I remember going through the strike, but I was living in Austin then, and I was like, what strike? But when you are here and deep in the heart of Los Angeles, it's like, you feel it real hard. Hopefully it will come back up, but because of that, long story, super long, is that we have been just trying to survive, is how we all are. Yes,
Yeah.
cutting down on everything, not doing anything. It's been a rough year and a half. But yeah, I was like, no, there's no way I can go. And Brandon is a urologist who loves doing films. Him and Michael were like, here, we're gifting you a ticket. And I was like, what?
That's
Are you kidding
awesome.
me? They're
That's
like,
crazy.
you just have to say yes. And I was like, okay, yes, yeah, okay, we're going.
Done and
So
done.
yeah, in a few days, I had to figure out how to reroute my schedule and everything, and then I was off to Burning Man. So
That's so
yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah, so I've been
So
there.
no mudpocalypse this year. For
was
real.
Yeah, it was. The weather was amazing. This is how amazing it is. When I came back, I was wondering why it was hotter here in Los Angeles than in the desert.
Yeah, my dad lives in the Bay Area, so he lives in Northern California, but he said it's been hot
There was
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it was
crazy.
a giant heat wave. I know.
It's always been hot here
yeah,
in
so I was
Austin,
there.
but yeah.
I know. It's always been hot. But you guys have pools and central AC, and that's a requirement for life. It's not AC stuck in the 70s. Yeah. No, so it was an amazing burn, beautiful weather, no crazy dust storms until the last day that we left, which was totally fine. And I want to put this on the record. I fought at the Thunderdome. Yes.
You
so
went into
in
the
Mad Max,
Thunderdome.
yes, in Mad Max. I haven't seen Mad Max Thunderdome yet, but that's what it's
What?
based off of. I know. I just finished watching the first real original Mad Max, which I was like, what the hell? And then the second one up, which I was like, oh, I understand why now
Yes.
that there's a whole franchise. And then I've been studying because I'm reading a book called Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, which is documenting the whole process of Fury Road and how crazy has been. Not very far in it, but it's pretty interesting. So my next step is to watch Mad Max Thunderdome. But in Mad Max Thunderdome, apparently there's this whole arena where people fight. And
Two men
yes,
enter, one man leaves.
I had two friends that I knew were going to be fighting in the Thunderdome. And they're like, please just come, show up and watch and support us. And I was like, cool. So I show up, and then I had another friend from last year's camp who was like, I was supposed to fight, but my partner basically bailed, and it's been on my bucket list. Could you please be my partner? And I'm like, okay. The whole time I'm in this line, I'm like, what the fuck did I sign up for? Because you can watch while you're standing in this very long ass line, and people are pummeling each other with these foam bats. Going
That's
at it
awesome.
type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I go in. I totally get kicked in the ribs and everything. Like I was doing really well until I got kicked in the ribs, and then I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
If you've never been kicked in, it hurts. Being kicked in the ribs is terrible. It's been a week and a half now since then, and it's better, but it still hurts. Like I have problems like getting up in bed. Like I have to slide out because it hurts by crunching up, basically. So
at least you didn't break it. I never broke a rib, but I definitely bruised a rib before, and it puts you out.
You know how it feels.
Yeah, it does suck. Yeah, I used to skateboard when I was younger. I got messed up skateboarding.
Yes.
Yeah, and my knees are like I can't stand on my knees longer than 5 minutes, which is like hilarious because it's just it's all cartilage at that point. But that's crazy though. So you didn't even know the references from Beyond Thunderdome in Mad Max, which is hilarious because the leader of the Thunderdome is a leader who's acted by Tina Turner, which is hilarious.
Tina Turner is what I heard. Yeah,
it's so fucking rad. It's a rad movie. I love. The first one was interesting. I got through it. But like I had to definitely let it run in the background as I went to do other stuff because I was just like, "What is this?" Yeah,
like, I was just not engaged at all.
But Road Warrior, you were locked in with the second one.
I very much enjoyed the second one.
That's right. Like, okay, it's good.
I understand why this is good now. But the first one, I was like, "How the fuck did George Miller even get anybody to back this up?" But I guess it's that it just takes one idea, and the idea is a guy who has been driven mad because his family has been murdered and now we're going to apocalypse. So that's enough of a seed of an idea to build an entire franchise on.
And Fury Road is, have you seen Fury
Road? Is epic. So
it's so crazy.
I've seen Fury Road, I've seen Furiosa, but everybody was like, it's based off of the original. So that's why I went back to be like, I have no clue what this original was. So I watched Mad Max 1.
Got it. Okay.
And then was like very disappointed. Then watched Mad Max 2 and I was like, aha, there it is. There's the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I have to watch Thunderdome since I fought in it. But apparently statistic wise, my friend Nicole, who I fought, we're friends. We're still friends. So she kicked me in the ribs, but to be fair, I hit her in the face and she definitely got like a bloody nose.
Yeah.
So people watch the video were like, oh yeah, you deserved it. I was like, I am aware. Yeah. Because I'm told I play to win. You know me.
Oh, you're competitive. When you're locked in, you're locked in.
I'm locked in. I'm scary. There's videos, and I'm like clocking her because the way they do the points are 3. The most points is if you hit them in the head, and then the shoulders is 2 points, and then the chest is 1. So yeah,
that's funny.
So it was that out of 30 to 70,000 people that do go to Burning Man, only 200 to 300 people fight at the Thunderdome. That makes us like top 1%.
Fuck yeah, that's rad.
Yes,
that's awesome.
I was very excited to tell my friends Michael and Brandon because I swore they said that they'd fought in there. They're like, no, we didn't fight in there. That's only for crazy people. You're crazy. Like, oops.
But that's like how you get into shit. You just fall into it, right? You don't really plan this shit out, and then when it happens, you're like, "Hey, Christine, you want to fight in the Thunderdome?" Okay, you're a yes man. You're just you just say, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it."
That's the way you do it, life. You just say yes and then regret it later,
and then you're
or
like,
learn
man,
something from it later.
Yeah,
no regrets, more just learn something. Yeah.
One punch in the head is enough for me to go, I'm good. That sucks, but I'm glad you had a good time though, and I'm glad it's better than last year.
Different experiences. I didn't hate last year. It was just different inconveniences. That was all. This time it was just like.
No, there are obstacles, but I did watch that music video, and it was sick. It was rad. I loved it. It was a good time. It looked like a good time.
Thank you.
You know, that's the thing though.
You saw it was a 3-part series, right? Plus the music video was a bonus.
Yeah.
So.
How you covered your coverage on Burning Man was better than any other coverage that I've seen of Burning Man in like ever. Like in any time people cover Burning Man, it just seems like there's only one part of it, and it's the music and people dressing up in like crazy costumes and stuff. But there's like whole bunch of other shit. There's like you showed that giant dome of cubes, or like giant cubes just lit up and shit. Yeah. That was sick.
I think a lot of people, their coverage of Burning Man is all the beautiful stuff because there is a lot of beauty at Burning Man. Now, we were just documenting everything, but I can't take full credit. I had two other people, Zoya and Matai. They were also going out and shooting stuff. And so it was
Nice.
so much footage to go through. It was about 5 camera work worth of stuff
Oh,
because I had
God.
my camera, I had 3 GoPros, so that was 4, and then their two, I think they each had 3. Okay, it was more than that then, because they each had 2 or 3, so it was about like 8 camera worth of stuff running for like at least 5 days straight because of the building, and then like sporadically here and there during the actual event. So for a long time, I actually just procrastinated because the footage was so overwhelming. There was so much of it. But what happened? So the first video, there's 3-part series. The first one called The Build. That one I edited pretty fast. I had that finished last year, but I knew I was going to release 2 other ones. I didn't know how it would be structured. I figured it out really fast a week before Burning Man when I was like, oh shit, Burning Man's happening again. I need to release these things. So I edited the other 2 in 3 days.
Really?
That's all I
Oh
needed.
my
I
God.
just needed a fire under my ass
Out of
Yeah,
5
so
cameras worth
I
of footage, you just edited like 2 of them.
type thing. I needed to do that. But like once I had the seed of, okay, I know what it's supposed to be, then it went fairly fast. But in the beginning, I was like, I don't know what I knew. What I knew was that I had too much footage, and there was no way I could stick it all in one video. And I know
No,
that
yeah.
and I also know that people are not going to watch a 20-minute video, right? So I love things in threes, power of threes. And so I was
Mhm.
like, all right, how am I going to do this? And it just came. The first episode is The Build, which is when we assembled the bit cube. The second one is called Build the Community, which is a little bit about like us also building the camp. And in the process, we were also lighting up the electronics of BitCube. And at the very end of it, that's when we finally get it all finished and it's lit. And
Yeah.
the third one is called The Burn. So that's when Burning Man started to happen, people seeing the cube, all that stuff. And then the fourth thing was like a bonus. One of the camp members was a friend's parent and also musician. He wrote the lyrics for our camp. It was super fun.
Oh, that's cool.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
No, it looked like a ton of fun. I'd imagine that even going through that footage would be a lot of fun, but you sped run through the fucking.
Sped through it, yeah. I was like, oh no, I have to
Jesus.
release this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, which is good. Sometimes you need that to make you do the work. A deadline, like I say all the time, get yourself deadlines.
Imagine it was
what
great
has
though, being out of town and just like doing the Burning Man thing again. I know you didn't plan to do it again this year, but like
It
this
was
impromptu trip was probably nice.
It was really needed. I didn't realize how much I needed it. I needed it to reset the pace. LA is 100% like hustle culture, hustle grind culture. And so if you're not hustling, then you're feeling guilty about not hustling. So it's one or the other. You're either hustling real hard or you're feeling guilty and facing a lot of crippling self-doubt as to why you're not hustling,
Mhm.
right? And so when you interchange yourself between these two, it can be stressful. You don't seem to get a break. My intention going to this burn was to really recommit myself to this pursuit of filmmaking and to what I was realizing during this whole period of craziness, year and a half of barely any work. How do I make sure that my self-worth isn't wrapped up completely by my career? It's very easy in this case when you love what you do and it happens to also be your primary source of income. You start to base everything about yourself, your self-worth, your happiness on how successful things are going in your job, your career. And then it becomes this resentment, like love-hate relationship, because you aren't where you exactly want to be. But the thing is, it's a career. It's a never-ending thing. So of course you're never going to be where you want to be. And then combined with societal, I guess you would call key performance indicators, KPIs, which would be like, oh, you're making this certain amount of money. Oh, you've hit this milestone life-wise. You're married or you have a boyfriend or whatever. And when you don't hit any of those either, then you're really struggling with who am I and what is my value if I can't succeed at my passion / job that is fueling my livelihood.
Right.
And so, and you keep, that is not your fault. It is the state of the industry that is going on right now. It sure can still feel that way. It can still feel like, is it something I did that is put me in the situation where I'm not like able to thrive? And yeah, going to Burning Man was a nice reset from that, to be like, all right, it's not me. This is the state of the industry. I just need to take a breather and figure out alternatives, or what can I do right now to just hang on just a little bit longer. You copyright. I teach piano. I have multiple side things. I teach. So people, full transparency. Yeah, I teach piano. I house sit. I still run a walkie rental company called Over and Out. I still try to get jobs. I also teach at AFI. You have to have multiple streams of income for this industry to survive. Because the thing is that this is a survival of who can last the longest, really.
Yeah.
Is what I'm. Yeah, it ceases to become. Yes, you have to have skills, and you should improve on your skills and be hireable. But in the end, it's who can last the longest, who can take the pain the longest. So
The battle of resistance. Yeah.
Battle of resistance. Yeah. So you have to have multiple forms of income. You have to be able, and that's a balance too. Have multiple form of incomes, but in a way that your other sources of income don't tire you out so much that you're not able to still focus on what you actually want to do, right? So that's what a lot of people run into, is that they're like, okay, I don't want to live like a starving artist anymore. And so then they go take like a 9-to-5 or something like that. But then what they realize is they're like so exhausted from whatever other source of income that they have that they don't spend the time on what they initially intended to do. So it's this weird fine line. I think actors have it already figured out much better because they already know. But like people like crew and stuff like that, for the most part, it's a lot is your career isn't as beholden to your looks and things that are beyond your control. It's on your skill set. And like an actor can be very good at acting, but if they're looking for a Caucasian actress and you are not, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So there's just more holes, more red tape for you to go through. So they already know, oh yeah, I have to have a side hustle. This is like side hustle to the extreme.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely there's obstacles along this path. And it's hard to convey to words like how it is compared from like 2019 to now. Like it's just it felt like a completely different fucking world. Oh yeah. You were still here. Yeah, you were definitely still here. But yeah, I remembered I wasn't working like a shit ton, but I was generating like a pretty good income. Like I had a pretty good income. Yeah. And even 2018, when I started into the industry, it was a lot of PA gigs for sure. And even in 2019, there was PA gigs
but there
as
were
well.
gigs. But that's the difference, is there were gigs. I was doing great. Like during the pandemic, all of that, I got to a point where, so that's why I'm like, I know it's not me. I got to a point where I was making more, and I know because of my tax statements, I made more in this career than I did when I had my IT business consultant years after I graduated from undergrad. So that for me was a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, yay, coming out of undergrad. So that was a huge like milestone for me. So to go from that to, oh, I'm more poor than when I started in this industry is a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's befuddling.
Like, how is that possible? Like, I've been telling people, I'm struggling more than I did when I first graduated from grad school and decided I'm going to start a production company with zero experience. And I'm making less than that.
That's insane. But again, like there's eventually, like you said, there will be a bounce back. Like there will be something. I know we always say that, oh, hope is at the end of the tunnel, but you have to remain that steadfast because it is very easy, like you said, to just slip into that whole, oh, I'll just do the 9 to 5. And then now you just completely block those chances of you actually working those gigs that probably will be meaningful to you, but because of the off chance that you are going to miss out on that cushiony 9 to 5 job, you're going to make that sacrifice. It's a risk. So yeah, I don't blame anybody for
industry. No,
it is, but I don't blame anybody for keeping that job. You know what I mean? Or even leaving the industry, period. Just be like, dude, I can't even survive on this.
It's
like
hard.
There's people with families and shit. I don't know either.
It is mind-boggling to me because I would like to not die alone one day. So I would love to have a family.
Me too.
And I'm like, ow, like how, especially when both spouses are in the industry.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, I understand like the Roxy and Casey dynamic. One's in the industry and the other one is in a more corporate job. But you're both like production.
Double filmmakers is it's a like, but that's the thing though, is that like the people do have some sort of system. We've seen couples who work in the industry as well, but you just wonder, and does one still have to carry the other for like how long? And do you guys fight about that? Is there like a dynamic going on? Because I don't understand that either. And I don't make, but I had a feeling working into the industry that anything goes. So I knew that the risks, but at the same time, it's like, I was consistent at that time and I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? I can quit my fucking coffee gig, the thing that I fucking hate the most. And I can finally do this full time. This is insane. This is great. So that lends opportunity. It's the only way I think to just survive is to just find opportunities. Maybe it's not like something that is like another gig, or maybe it is another gig, but I'm just saying if there's something you've been needing to work on creatively, or you wanted to complete a passion project, you can have that time to do that. Are you making money doing it? Probably not. It's nonetheless the time you get to do that passion project.
So you have, it's a way to, another mindset.
Yeah.
I think one of the great ways to be able to get through tough times is to see, instead of saying, I'm not working, saying, it's great. I have time to do all these things I've put on hold because I've been so busy.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's been ramping up Get Reelisms. What I've realized, let's say my career, if anything, being in LA has been great for Get Reelisms because people get it when they see the book. When I came back from Burning Man, that same week I had to go do the LA Kids Book Festival. And people get it. They just see it. They're like, oh yeah. I had a book buyer approach us. So we're now in 2 additional bookstores, which is cool here in LA.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, so we're in Skylight Books, and then I can never remember how to say that. It's something well. I can look it up really quick because I feel bad that I can't remember. But yeah, so we're slowly adding bookstores. And so that's what I'm using my time for, is slowly learning about what I can do with Get Reelisms and slowly just building it up. Which brings me to another thing. So while I was here, I ran into Charlie Pierce at the Synod Gear thing, but at that point he had already told me that he was moving to LA.
Oh my God.
So
more Austin people are moving to LA.
Yeah,
it was first Roxy and then Christine and now Charlie. Actually, there was a
Yes.
couple of other ones too. That one of them used to work art department. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah,
Elias.
he does a lot of camera work. He does like a lot of production stuff, and he moved to LA as well. And he's actually from the Bay Area where I'm from, which is insanely hilarious. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I just remember. I just got the name. Sorry, the name of the bookstore is called Village.
Shout out. Yeah, but you do have a point because there's definitely like avenues that anybody can go down when it comes to surviving something that feels so, I don't know, like limited when it comes to the film industry. And it is limited. It's not a constant thing. And you learn that very quickly when you work in the film industry. But when you are consistently working, you don't worry about it until you don't consistently work. It's just how it goes. There's definitely been moments since COVID where it was just like, I have to remain that like level-headedness of me knowing that I got to seek other opportunities, because once I dwell in it, in the obscurity of what's going to happen next month, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford that? I go quickly into a bout of depression. Very severely too. And I'm not going to lie, I have been in that for a while, y'all. And it happens. It doesn't make you less of a human. It doesn't make you weak. It just only makes you understand where you hit your limits, and you got to read what is going through your mind. You got to understand it. You can't just block it out and hope for the best, because you got to make something happen yourself sometimes. It's just like the way that it goes. And it's hard, but
So with Charlie, this is the fun part. So
Yes.
on Friday, I mentor at the American Film Institute, so AFI. And right now, AFI is starting to ramp up the start of what they call cycle films. So cycle films are where they have these groups. Each group does their own short film, basically. They're called cycle because you, like a director for one, has to go work on as a crew for a different.
That is cool.
Should be a requirement.
yeah.
Yeah, so everybody cycles. So if you're this role, you're another role for another one, right? So you end up working on a bunch of short films in a very short period of time. They take place every single weekend in the month of October. Friday, the 13th, was their kickoff. So their kickoff was a mini version of it called Boot Camp. So instead of doing a full-on short film, they only did a scene. The scene is basically 3 pages max, with 2 actors max. They took place at different locations at AFI. At each location was a first AD mentor. So I think there were like 5 groups going on at the same time, but I just stuck in my little section. So my section was like right behind the AFI. They had, art department had basically converted it to a street alley. So it looked like a New York street alley near a strip club. It's pretty cool.
That's
they did
rad.
a really good job.
I love that. Yeah.
So there's graffiti,
Yeah.
neon signs and stuff. And I had 4 different teams that basically shot in this location. Each team only gets 2 hours, and each script is different because some other writer writes it. So it's 4 different 2-minute shorts, and the actors are not professional. They're like students as well. So like the first one, for example, one of the guys was a stripper. I'm directing the next another one. So it's very fun.
That's great.
The second, between each one, there's like a 15-minute gap to go to take a break. I come up for I believe it was my second film, and there stands Charlie Pierce.
That's
and
awesome.
I freaked out. He was DPing.
I was wondering.
So that was
Okay.
really cool. I was like, oh my God. That was fun to AD, and he DP'd his thing.
Good for him,
It's
though. That's
really
rad.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all
and
came
so
a long
I
way
had-
since Louisiana. That's rad.
I know.
And
it's interesting
Austin,
'cause
of
I
course,
had
but-
actually asked him. I was like, man, so much already. Like, you are very established in Austin as a DP. Like, you do incredible work. Like, why are you here in school? And his
You're
response
above
was
this,
very much
Charlie.
like, I was like, why are you here? He said that a lot of it is AFI has such a strong name and brand that people are always recruiting from it for their own projects or whatnot. And then you are also linked to a giant alumni and your teams and stuff. It gives you a way to link into the LA film community. And he also had the same conclusion as me, was that both of us in our careers had reached a point that we felt there was some sort of glass ceiling. We were seeing that big projects that we aspired to work in, they were bringing in our positions from LA into Austin. And they were not considering any of the locals who were qualified, just as qualified for those positions. And because of this reality, we both realized that, hey, there's something at a certain level, there comes a point where you do need to hack it in LA and show that, hey, I exist, so that you can go work in your hometown on the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
I already knew that was a thing for actors, but I think as I'm in this process, I'm really learning that you should build your career elsewhere outside of LA first. Build all of your portfolio. Work on your shorts with your friends in the cities who like aren't jaded, who think filmmaking is cool. It is not going to cost you $5,000 just for permits. Go make the films where your mom's going to cater the set, or your aunt is going to let you use their coffee shop, or the mayor will hand you the keys to a prison for free. Do all of that work outside. Come with a robust resume to LA, because you're not going to be making anything for a while.
Yeah.
For me, I've worked as a second or a second AD. I haven't really firsted at all. I've taught firsting, but I haven't actually been able to first because now I'm in the DGA, so I have to be only work union jobs. Like, you're going to do that for a while and make your connections, and then maybe you'll start to be able to work on stuff in your portfolio. But I think this is the time where you're looking for your team. You're looking for those few people in department head positions, right? You're not going to forget any of the other people that you've met along the way. Those are all also people part of the team, but you're looking for the producers who will help you find the money. But you're looking for the producers who have experience with the distribution companies, with investors. That's why you're here. You're looking for the managers, the agents who have access to the studios who are looking for the next director or cinematographer or whatever it is that you're coming for. So
All the above the line team.
So hopefully I'll get to hang with Charlie or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just thought
that is great.
That was a really fun moment too, because technically they gave us a grid that told us who was on our team, but like I didn't read it clearly. I'm so glad, because when I just assumed it would be all these people I didn't know when he was there.
They're just names on a paper. That's crazy. Yeah.
So that was great. That was a good moment. And maybe I'll get to work with them during the cycle films.
Yeah. And you probably do have a point to that as well, in regards to building up a portfolio in your hometown and then facilitating some sort of connection in LA. I think there is some validity to that, as well as there's plenty of risk by doing that as well for some people. But we are close to wrapping this episode up for a new guest, returning guest coming in, and it's going to be a surprise. We're not gonna spoil it just yet, but it's a good one, y'all. Yes. So stay tuned. Yes. Any remaining thoughts, Christine? You definitely nailed it with the whole industry talk of building the skill set first, and then building the skill set, building the connections, and then building the even bigger connections in Los Angeles. Was there anything you want to add on top of that?
I think it's just the words of encouragement to everybody right now who is in deep in the heart of just trying to survive, especially in Los Angeles. Just you're not the only one. It's the industry. The industry is going through a shift right now.
A shitty shift, if you will. Sorry.
Yeah, because there's an adjustment to technology. It's a adjustment to it's trying to find homeostasis. I'm a nerd.
Homeostasis. You're talking to an idiot,
yes.
Christine.
So homeostasis is when things are in disarray and it's trying to find an equilibrium, basically.
Got it.
So because of that, there's a lot of shifting around. So people's way of consuming media has changed, and the studios are trying to adjust for that. How do they continue to be able to still make money and also use this way of how people are watching content? People are now used to being able to just go on and stream something and not having to pay by rental.
Yeah.
So how do we chop up these subscriptions in a way where all the artists who are part of all these subscriptions are able to benefit? The come to Jesus moment right now, nobody knows what's going on or how to adjust for it, but all things will eventually come to an equilibrium.
Yeah.
It might take some time. Just treat it like COVID, right?
While building
do all
those
the
connections.
things correct, and find some separate income source for the moment to let you stay in the industry for just that little bit longer. And there's no shame to that. Like Adam and I, we both have multiple sources of income.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to do it. And and I get it. I thought about applying to other jobs as well, part-time or in other industries. And it is a big mind fuck. It can feel like you're an absolute failure because of that. But it's not. You are just finding a way to be able to stay in the game longer.
That's right.
So if you believe in yourself and you believe in the work that you do and stuff, just stay in it just a little bit longer. We're all in it together.
Yeah, we're all going to make it through. It sucks out there right now.
We're going to make it.
But we're going to, with us combined, we're definitely going to make it. And you'll definitely make it all the way to GetReelisms.com, ladies and gentlemen. You know what it is. It's housekeeping time, y'all. Get your book, get your hats, get tees like these.
Look
oh
at you.
my
Look at
goodness
how cool
gracious.
So cool.
We
We
are
have our uniform. Yeah.
we are here unified in our uniforms. We love this.
Nieces and nephews. Here, let me go get it. You got to get the ABCs as well.
You got to get the ABCs of filmmaking, ladies and gentlemen. It's the most adorable little book. Start them early.
My nephew and nieces all have this.
Yes.
It's a little baby board book. Or you gift them, or hey, if you're not a filmmaker, gift it to somebody who's a filmmaker who has kids and stuff like that. They'll really appreciate it.
Aspiring filmmakers, it's the gateway to your filmmaking slogan needs and knowledge, because knowledge is power. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.